XTC's Andy Partridge is back with maybe a little taste of what's to come. Hello, it's Matt O'Leary, and it's time for an exciting review of this little EP from the Three Clubmen, which is a collaboration between Andy Partridge, most notably of XTC, and Jen Olive and Stu Rowe. And XTC, of course, is this very singular art rock, progressive pop band made famous in the 80s, mainly for their studio output. I think they just stopped touring after a certain point. More recently famous for being one of Steven Wilson's favorite bands. Andy was really the spiritual leader of XTC and wrote most of their best material alongside bassist and fellow song contributor Colin Moulding. And Jen Olive is this very artsy art pop singer-songwriter whose career got a real jump start just from sending a letter to Andy Partridge asking him to, check out her stuff, and he did. And he ended up producing her first album called Warm Robot. I say her career got a jump start, but really she doesn't have a huge following still, and I listen to Warm Robot. I think it's a great record and really a hidden wonder. It makes me really excited to check out her one other album from 2014 called The Breaks, which brings me to my third contributor and collaborator here, Stu Rowe, who produced that album. Stu is a fellow Swindonite, Swindon being the birthplace of XTC, about 2 hours west of London. And Stu Rowe is an accomplished producer in his own right. This Three Clubmen EP comes from the hard drive archives of Stu because the trio got together about 10 years ago to collaborate and start writing and making magic. Stu would go back and tinker with the songs every once in a while and, throw on some bells and whistles, and everyone he shared it with really loved it. He loved it. Everyone involved loved it. So eventually they decided to put a bow on these 4 songs and release the EP. Andy insists that great music is timeless, and I totally agree. I don't care when and how this was made, if some of the ideas are old. I just really love having new music from Andy. It's pretty clear right away, too, lyrically, that these lyrics aren't meant to be a commentary on any current events or anything like that. So, it's just music in its abstract glory. And while a lot of XTC fans have been waiting a really long time to get new music from Andy, this really came at a perfect time for me because I just got into XTC like 5 or so years ago. So what is this EP all about? What can you expect? First things first, I think this is truly collaborative. It feels that way. It feels like everyone's voice is being considered and represented and is an equal part in this recipe. If you love XTC, you're going to hear some clear as day Andyisms, like on Green Green Grasshopper with its twisting, dissonant guitar lines and signature chorus break, while the lead guitar line in Aviatrix really sticks in my brain and it brings me right to Life on a Farm Boy's Wages with that kind of rustic swagger thing. Aviatrix stays planted in the key of A throughout that riff, which just really grooves. But there are vocal harmony parts and all these layered tracks that kind of pull the ear away from that key, bending and twisting away rebelliously. Aviatrix has brass, it has flute, it has xylophone, and that really becomes a theme on the record. It's a studio buff kind of record with just all sorts of layering. The second track, Race Car, leads us further down the progressive path with this time signature that, I consider myself a pretty good counter, but I have no idea. Good art rock and art pop is a bit collage-like in that you can hear bits and scraps of different influences here and there. But the sum is definitely greater than the parts, which is definitely the case with Race Car. Probably the most evocative lyric on these 4 tracks too, with all its simplicity and repetition. I'm blue, what should I do? You gotta get yourself a race car, baby. It definitely just sticks with me and, makes me think about simple pleasures. Jen's vocals across the tracks just bring a lot of personality, a lot of flair, and serve as a great counterpoint to Andy's more stoic delivery, which, his voice is definitely tamed in his older age. The two just blend so well together, and Jen brings all these odd rhythms to the mix. She often sings these very long, kind of syncopated lines over steady grooves. It's definitely not what the common pop singer would choose if they heard that chord progression or that groove. She definitely ventures outside the box. The last track, Look at Those Stars, has more of a dub reggae flavor with this thick beat and this slightly off-tune piano that sounds like if you left a piano out in the sun too long in Jamaica. And again, Jen brings some great ideas vocally to this song, just often doing these really interesting counterpoint melodies and harmonies, and often a little bit of dissonance in there. But while there's dissonance, the lines as a whole make melodic sense and just string together in such a seamless way. And they're all mixed in a really interesting way too. They know just when to isolate a vocal, just when to double a vocal, just when to add some effects. I could see how her voice isn't for everyone. I think on its own, I don't know if I'd love it, but as part of this whole ensemble, it's ear candy. And like I said, it sounds like they're all contributing here. They're not just along for the ride as Andy steers the ship. They're offering something and they sound happy about it. Really, they don't put a foot wrong here. Obviously 4 tracks, a little short, a little bit of a tease, but it sounds like there's more ideas hanging around in those hard drives. So if this release really gets out there and does well, maybe that will encourage them to dedicate some more time to it. And give the people an album already. Come on, we're greedy consumers and we're never satisfied. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you discovered something new if you didn't know about the 3 Clubmen. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, thank you so much for watching.